You're listening to Passages, a podcast about great quotes, life, and the wisdom of the Bible. And now your hosts, Drew Kaiser, Jason Pulliam, and Tim Layton.
Well, nobody thought it could be done, but here we are, episode 50.
Woohoo! 50. I'm a man.
50.
I'm 50.
That's right. And we can find
There it
the
is,
applause
yeah.
button. We did it. And this will be our last episode. No, just kidding.
Yeah. No.
We'll see how it goes.
I would probably weep if this was our last episode. It would be sad. I have thoroughly enjoyed our Wednesday evenings together into the late hours of night.
Yes. Well, we're just getting warmed up. So it's going to get better and better and better. Before we get into our listener request episode, I want to remind you about Cobb Publishing. Go to cobbpublishing.com. There's a lot of great material there for you to check out, a lot of good books to read. One thing that I can highlight is their quarterly, the periodical they put out every quarter, and there's just so many good articles in the quarterly. This last issue was a double issue. I think it's about 150 pages. What people may not know, is the digital version of the quarterly is free. You can just go to cobbpublishing.com, get the details there, or you can subscribe to the print subscription, less than what you spend on coffee in a week. So it's a good deal. Cobbpublishing.com, check it out, and we'll be mentioning them in the next several episodes. They've been a good sponsor to Passages.
So this evening is our request episode. This is our second one we've done. We're doing it in honor of us turning 50 tonight. I guess we're not really turning 50, but it's episode 50.
I'm 50.
It's the closest I am to 50 in a long time. So, but I don't know what that didn't make any sense. Let me just get to the question. So we've got a number of questions that were submitted. Some of these are random, very light questions. Some of them are a little deep. I'm just going to run through them in no particular order. These were not made up by us. No. I'm sure some people
Straight
think
from passengers.
but these are straight from listener requests. And then we'll end the evening with two passages that were submitted by some of our passengers. So the very first question I have, and I think this is a great one to start on because I think it'll be a fun conversation. What is something from the 80s and 90s that you miss and think all people younger than you should know about? I love this question.
I like the question. It's almost like there's so much to mention.
There's a lot of things.
It's overwhelming, all the things that are coming to mind right now.
The first thing that popped in my head when I read this question was my hair. No one younger than me has really seen me with hair. And it wasn't beautiful, but it was better than it is now.
But it was there.
We got to see Drew's hair tonight.
In that picture,
during the video.
Yeah.
During his lesson.
That was a really cool video. I'm jealous of that trip you
That
took.
was well done. That was great placement of that
In
to
the
make a
PowerPoint?
point.
Yes.
Yeah.
I really
I didn't
thought
know
that
how
was
it was
good.
coming off. But
It nailed it. I was really, I enjoyed it. After that, I stopped paying attention, but that part was really, really
well,
good.
thank you.
No, I'm
All
joking.
right, this one may be a little more 70s, but one of the things that is just an indelible, it's just part of life when I was growing up, was we had an aerial antenna in the backyard. And so we had, we got 3 VHF stations and 1 UHF. And so you had 2 different antennas for that. But undoubtedly that thing would get turned, right? And so, the wire went out the window into the backyard and up the pole, and there would be a yelling adventure of the person in watching the TV, and you would go and turn it toward Birmingham, or turn it toward Birmingham mostly, because we would have it turned toward Birmingham for the VHF and toward Anniston for the UHF, and so if it got turned from those two, then you had to get it pointed back right there. Ho, no, wait, ho. right there. A little, no, back where you were. No.
Yeah.
And every time you turn loose of it, it'd get bad again.
Then
or
you'd
whatever,
fine tune that little, how the knob had the fine tune on
inside.
it where you just rolled it just a little bit.
Or the rolling screen.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I don't know if you ever
I
had
never
to deal
had
with
rolling
rolling
I don't
screens.
miss that.
Man, that was a booger because you'd have
The V hold, right? Isn't that what you had to do? V
vertical-
hold. Maybe I do
the
remember
vertical
that.
hold,
Yeah.
right? And on the, for us, the console on the back of the console TV, there was
Yeah.
a,
I do
it
remember
wasn't like a
this.
control on the front even. You would go to the
Little
back,
plastic-
little plastic white thing,
Yeah.
and you touch that thing just barely.
Well, and the console TVs were
It's
so
true.
big that you almost had to have somebody watching the tube to let you
Yeah,
know
'cause
if
you
you
can't
had
get
it
your arm back
right
there.
because you couldn't reach back
No
there
way.
and
Arms
look
not
around
long
the front. There was no way.
Absolutely.
You know, while you're on the subject of television, I miss watching television with people because that doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, I can remember gathering in the floor for the. Now this is lame, but on Friday nights was TGIF. You had Full House. You had
and you had to
Perfect
be
Strangers.
there at that time. If you weren't there at that time, you missed it.
Yeah, and
you weren't getting it
everybody
back.
and everybody like everybody had their place. Dad on the couch,
Yep.
mom on the love seat, kids sitting in the floor, and you just turned it on and you'd watch 2 hours of TV. Nobody was scrolling their phones. Nobody had
Right.
their AirPods in. That was cool.
Yeah.
You might even talk about what you're watching, or maybe not, but you're all doing it together. And growing up, we were always like, people spend too much time watching TV. We had no idea what was coming
Yeah.
with all these tiny screens we stare into constantly.
The other thing, I don't know that I missed this, but you talking about the antenna, how many times did you as a young child have to be the one that had to go hold the rabbit ear still? Because as the TV got older, the little antennas off the top would start, they droop, and you'd go push them up, and it never failed. They'd be like, just hold it right there for a minute. Let's watch the news.
And and whatever happened, if you ever touched the antenna,
Oh,
just
it was done.
naturally
Yeah.
everything would be better because you were now part of the antenna.
That's right. Yep.
And so that's perfect right there. And as soon as you turn loose
It's
of
static.
it, it's
Just
going to
snow.
move and it's going to lose you.
Yep.
And it was back to being all messed up again.
What do you miss, Drew? I have one other thing that I miss, but I'll wait
There's-
till after you regale
There's all
us
kinds
with
of
stories.
things, just the downtime. I think that was good for us. It might not have been something we would say we enjoyed, but you didn't have constant amusement in your hand all the time.
No.
You were having to use your imagination or create games or play with your brothers or whatever, and that was really good. And I feel like our kids are missing out on boredom. Really, they don't have that.
Yeah, and it
Too
was
many
good to be
choices.
bored because you had to come up with things to do, which made you use your imagination.
And I get overwhelmed with the choices. I mean, it's too many things to choose from. And Tim was talking about having 3 channels. That was a real thing, and you didn't spend your whole afternoon deciding what to watch. You just watched whatever was there.
I think that since we're talking about television, I believe this was in the 90s. Just the sort of a television phenomenon, right? Because there are so many options now. I think the days of that are over. And one that comes to mind for me was when Who Wants to Be a Millionaire just went nuts, right? And so everybody was watching it like 3 nights a week to see if somebody was going to win that $1 million. And so, everybody was like, did you see how far
And talk
that
about
guy
it at
get
work
or whatever?
next day.
yeah.
And you remember the guy who won it for the first time, who I thought was awesome because he made one of the boldest moves I ever saw on TV. So, they had all their lifelines, their 50-50, phone a friend, ask the audience. This joker went through the whole thing, never used a lifeline, and he gets to the last question, and he says, I want to phone a friend. And they say, who you want to phone? He said, I want to phone my dad.
Yep, I remember this.
They call his dad up, and he says, hey, Dad, and so Regis does his thing. You're on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. You're going to have 15 seconds to ask the question, and I'm going to put your son on the air right now. And he said, hey, Dad, I don't need your help. I just wanted to tell you I'm about to win $1 million.
And then he answers it.
And then he answers the question.
I remember that.
And of
Oh,
course, he's
man.
right. and it's like, dude, that is
The guy was bold.
He is bold, but he was smart.
So this is an easy thing. It's a functional thing that I miss. Do you remember when the dimmer switch in your car was on the floorboard?
Yes.
I miss the floorboard dimmer
Somebody
switch
needs to bring that back.
because it was now honestly, most newer cars, they auto dim. But that was so convenient, just having the dimmer switch down
Do you
there in the
think they
floorboard.
moved it for safety or something?
I don't.
To somebody?
How is
you
using
know-
your hands not more distracting than tapping your foot down here? I
Right.
don't know. It was just.
I could
think
see it not being there if you have a clutch.
Yeah.
But if you don't have a clutch,
Yeah, just reach down there and toe tap your lights.
yeah.
Anyway, that was a little thing. So let's move to another
All right,
question.
let's do something.
This is another one. What? Speaking of dimmer switch, this question was submitted: Ford or Chevy or whatever. Which one? I'm a GM Chevy guy.
Yeah, I was gonna
GMC
say
Chevy guy.
GMC Chevy for me.
Yeah.
If I was one of these kinds of guys, I'd have to be a Honda guy.
Yeah.
I don't have a Honda now, but I have put miles on Hondas.
You put miles on Fords.
I have put miles on
Yeah.
Fords too, right? So, and my first car ever was a Ford Fiesta that basically I just wrapped around me and sort of walked it to school, but because it was not a very big car. But I've had a Fiesta and an Explorer, but
Well, that right there represents 45 years of
But-
your life.
but I've had Hondas. I've had a Honda. The first new car I ever bought was a Honda Accord that I put 250,000 miles on, driving back and forth from Munford to Hoover. And then I got a Honda Passport, which really it's a stretch to call it a Honda because really it was an Isuzu Rodeo
That's right.
with Honda stamped on it.
That's right.
And then I had Millie had a Honda Civic, and we had the Honda Accord that we always threatened to jump through the
Yeah.
sign
Hey,
out
that
here.
thing was like the
Right?
Energizer
So
bunny
I think
to
I'd
me.
have to be a Honda guy.
Yeah, I think that's true. So this question's a little different, but I like this one. If you could have one superpower, what would it be and why? While you're thinking, I looked through this list earlier today, so I can throw up. I would fly. Like I still today have dreams about flying, like just being able to like jump and just go off into the atmosphere and fly and leap over. That's just a cool thing. I don't know why that's cool to me, but that would be
Flying
my superpower.
is a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm afraid to answer the question because I've heard that this is a way to reveal your soul.
Oh, is it?
Like whatever you say your superpower is, that tells something about you psychologically.
Well, and we have a follow-up
nervous about
question
that.
about
Interesting.
superhero superpowers to
Yeah.
follow up this one with. So
I mean, I'll take anything really, but super strength would be great,
yeah,
which includes invincibility.
yeah.
Like
Oh, wow,
I can
absolutely.
stand in front of a freight train,
Yeah,
stop it,
yeah.
the clothes get all tore up, I look great. Mm-hmm. That's what I want to do.
I was gonna say like being able to like see through walls or something, but
Tim,
sometimes
perverted.
you don't.
Sicko.
Yeah, that sounds weird,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And sometimes
You just
it's like,
told us all we
a
need to
lot
know
of times
about you.
don't need to know. Or
I've
you
seen
don't-
your eyes in the YMCA locker room. That's terrifying to me.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Let me go with another one. that's a great idea because I'm sure you probably can't turn it off.
No,
even when
there's
you're
no
walking.
turning that
I was
off.
like,
Yeah,
"Oh, I
yeah.
don't want to see that. Right. So let me.
You have to get reverse X-ray glasses like they sell on the back
Yeah,
of the comic books.
lead glasses. That's what you'd have to
Lead
wear.
glasses. Yeah.
Did those work?
I never.
I mean, I
bought
always
a pair.
wondered, but
Never try. I
I'm
never,
thinking
never
they're
got
about
it.
as realistic as sea monkeys.
right. And when you looked at your hand, could you really see the bones? Like
Yeah.
the-
Yeah.
Hey, that's something
depiction.
I miss from the old days: is sea monkeys and X-ray glass advertisements in comic
Or
books.
Miracle Ear. Miracle Ear was always one on
Yeah,
TV.
Miracle Ear
Here's
was on-
someone in the next room having a. Tim would just like to hear us sitting
Miracle
here
Ear.
talking.
the ability to hear, that would be my superpower.
what?
All right, so the follow-up question to superpowers, and this is a long one, but I'm going to read it in its entirety. Have any of y'all ever talked about the real-life ramifications that would happen from fictional events such as the ability to fly or other things? For example, super speed by itself would kill you. You need other abilities such as near impenetrable skin, a black hole for a stomach, and reflexes that can put a cat to shame. So I'm not sure.
The answer to the question is no. We haven't thought
I've
that
never
deeply
thought about that.
these things.
And I will tell you
But
this.
thanks for bringing it up. It's really interesting.
Yeah. As I think about the ramifications of flying, you know what it would solve? I sat on 459 going to a meeting last night for almost an hour. I would have just got out of the car and got to my meeting on time.
Or
But
you
so
would not
what
even
would-
have been there because you would have just from
flown
home
to the meeting.
From home,
Yeah.
you would have said up and away.
And I don't even need a cape to fly. I just want to be in my khakis and my nice Patagonia fleece vest.
But
here
what are some of the
and take off.
ramifications of this?
I guess I could be hit by an airplane.
Or
Be
a
covered
bird.
by bugs when you
Yeah,
get
That's
to your
right.
meeting.
That's true.
Don't smile. You
Yeah,
have
that's
bugs
true.
in your teeth.
That's true.
There's probably other things we haven't thought about.
Yeah, running fast, I could see that being an issue because you run through something, get injured.
How about directions? You know, knowing where you're going, right? You get up there
Right?
and fly,
Things
but
look different from a crow's.
You
well,
know,
you gotta
it
have
would,
gotta have
view.
Waze in your pocket.
it would be
Yeah,
awful
that's
to
true.
be able to have the ability of flying, but have no sense of direction. I mean, I
Right.
can get lost in a parking lot. I can't imagine if I'm up in the air looking down, like, I think the house is around here.
If you were flying and you had Waze in your pocket, would it just go recalculating? It's trying to figure out where in the world you are.
I don't know how far up that thing goes.
Yeah. either.
We don't know
I
about
think it
its-
can track you.
Maybe it just thinks you're in a really tall car. I don't
As
know.
long as you got a cell signal, it'll know where you are.
Yeah.
I mean, the good thing is I don't have to ever worry about it because I'll never have a superpower.
Well,
Not
But-
flying.
But if this
Don't
thing
quit
really
believing.
takes off and we become independently wealthy, we could buy one of those jet packs. You know, we
Tim,
now
you-
you're talking.
we'd
Tim,
share
you've
it.
seen my level of coordination. I would go up. It would be like when Dad built a model airplane when I was a kid. We took it out behind Evelyn C. West Elementary School. We took it off. It was a remote control plane. It went up, arced over, nosed into the ground, broke the wings off. Dad put it back in the truck and said, "Well, we're done. Let's go home."
That's it.
That's what my first flight would be like, I'm afraid, in a jetpack. Let's see here. What is the punchline to your favorite joke? Just the punchline.
I've got that one.
Go.
It started out as a wart on my bottom.
I've heard the joke. I'm pretty sure
That's
I've
the
heard
only.
you tell
It's
it.
about the only joke
good
I
one.
ever tell.
Yeah.
Mine is, it must be Jesus in the back because Billy Graham's driving the car.
Yep. I know that joke. And mine would be ugly sheep. And that's
Oh man.
and that's
Now that's one I don't know, and I don't know if I want to know.
Tim's heard it, I'm pretty sure by his laughing. But ugly sheep is
Just the
mine.
punchline's
good-
enough.
Yeah.
I like that question.
That was
good
a
one.
really creative one. Let's not do serious yet. I'm still reeling from the difficult question about superheroes. Christmas lights, multicolor or single color? Let's start with that question. Let me start from the beginning. How about just this question? Christmas lights, yes or no?
No.
No.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm no.
Hey,
not surprised.
Christmas decorations, yes or no?
No.
No.
Yes.
Oh dear. All right.
A lot. Christmas inflatables.
Yeah.
Yes.
Your house looks like a scene from the Jim Carrey version of The Grinch in Whoville when they're decorating. Tim's out there shooting lights up on the house. Hey, I nearly died at your house one time.
That's right. Jason really was probably, he was part of the last time we ever put lights on the house.
Yeah, and there was a reason because I thought I was gonna die.
Because we were doing it with like a 10-foot step ladder and the
You're-
up and down.
you're on
in
that
the
part of
front
it that you're not
that's-
supposed to
that
stand
was-
on.
That
Oh,
says,
it was awful.
This is not a step.
Over
right?
the bushes, one person holding it uneven ground. It was bad. So Tim,
Yeah.
you're the only one that really cares about this one because I don't like
Well,
Christmas.
I
decorations.
do have an opinion.
Okay, multicolor or single color?
Well, for years and years and years, I was single color, like clear. So
Mm-hmm.
the question mentions bright white or warm white. I don't know, but I was clear. But I've added in a little like external flare,
A little
so,
coloration.
So in our outside lights, there's some color. So
Okay, I'm single color. If you're going to put them out, nothing but white.
Yeah, same here.
Now,
But I have noticed that the trend is going toward multicolor.
yeah.
well,
After
my
so many years of single,
We've got
My
some-
grandmother
we had
was
some
a-
that were draped around, like up and down our
Yeah.
fence, and
Yeah.
we went with the big bulb
yeah.
colors
Oh.
for that.
Now, as a
Retro
child,
stuff.
my grandmother was 100% multicolored lights, and they had the little flower petals around them. and she had that silver tinsel on the tree.
Oh, the silver
yeah.
tinsel.
Or we had the silver
Yes.
tree.
Yeah.
The first Christmas tree I ever had was the silver tree.
I've heard
with
you
the,
talk about
with the
the silver
rotating
tree.
light.
Oh, yeah.
Man, the
Well, you
rotating
kept that
light.
for
Hey,
a
we've
long
got
time, didn't
one.
you?
It's still in the
Or
attic.
you got one like
It's still
it?
in the
Yeah.
attic.
We've
I think
got a
there's something
vintage
about
one.
being a pack rat here. So
We'll get to
later.
that question.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good question. So favorite Bible character and why? And this question says to exclude deity.
Well, I'm glad the person put that on there because we'd feel guilty about not saying
choosing
Jesus.
Jesus.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
so that opens up the.
yeah.
Do y'all have one?
I'll throw out. I love David. I love his story. I love the heart. I like David because you can read his story and you can see good man, lot of flaws, lot of flaws. But then you can go and read Psalms and you can get a glimpse into his heart and some of the conflict and the turmoil he went through. And I think he was a very just human character. And he gives me hope because he had a lot of warts and bumps and ugliness, but he was a man after God's own heart. You can read it, the Psalms and the stuff that he wrote, and man, he was trying. He just had his demons that just ate away at him. But I still think he's just a great example of humanity. I don't know. I really like David.
Mine's similar. My favorite is Jacob for the same reason. Very human character. I think you can see the gospel in his life in the sense that he was given grace. He did not deserve it. And you see this transformative moment in his life when he wrestles with the angel.
Yeah.
He walks away a different man, and that there's so much meaning in his life for a Christian. And if you'd like to buy my book on Jacob, Favorite Cheat, it's available at RiddleCreekPublishing.com.
Oh, and we'll come back to that one in just
All right.
a little bit.
I'm going to go for some similar reasons. I'm going to go with Paul. And I think just the way that he shows how a life can change. And, you know, he always thought he was doing the right thing, but when shown the right way, he made such a drastic turn in his life, and all the things that he had going for him, he risked those and basically set them all aside for what he thought and what he knew was truth. And so I think that's pretty great.
I like that question. That was a good question. Silly question. Well, I assume it's silly. The person that writes it may not, or submitted it may not think it. But what is your opinion of auto-tune and the myriad of people who apparently have to use it on every song they record? I hate auto-tune. I despise it.
My son loves it.
It's you know what I miss? I miss the singers of old, like in the 50s and
Pre-Cher?
60s. Yes, that they just, I mean, you think of your Ella Fitzgeralds, your Otis Reddings, your Sam Cookes. They didn't have to be auto-tuned. Those folks were spectacular.
They couldn't use technology as a crutch.
No,
and,
they had to
They
sing.
did it live.
That's right.
I mean, there were record sales, but the main way you listened to music was you went to the club or
That's right,
whatever
and you heard
listened
them
to
play.
them. And night after night after night, they would perform. Get it right the first time, every time.
And most of them were writing their own stuff, performing their own stuff, playing the music for their own stuff. Now, some of them didn't play as much music as others, but they were truly what I would call artists. Nowadays, you get a popular person that's pretty that you can auto-tune that will sell records. That's all you
and
do.
the singers weren't necessarily all that pretty.
I know this is going to break hearts
Back
out
in the
there.
day.
Right.
Taylor Swift would not have made it in the 50s and 60s. She is an auto-tuned, spectacular person that's a pop culture sensation.
Does she do auto-tune?
Not a great artist, I think.
I don't know that it's fair to say she does auto-tune. And I have been very
She's
clear
highly,
about my
she's
position
highly,
on Taylor Swift.
Highly produced, though, way overproduced performer.
Yeah, the production is strong on with that one.
Yeah.
You know, I listen to a lot of 70s music, and I would wonder sometimes if it's just that I really don't expose myself to a lot of new stuff, but I'm like, where's this stuff, right? Maybe it's that there's not enough LSD out there for folks today that might have been using it when they produced this stuff. I don't know. I'd say that
Well,
in jest.
It
but
all comes from
You're
the
saying where's the music
Right,
like
where's-
the
where-
70s music?
Right,
It's
where's-
out there.
you know.
It's on indie labels.
Yeah.
You're looking for indie rock.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll share some playlists with you.
get something my way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now-
Have you ever heard of Radiohead?
Please stop talking to me.
We were going to go. I mean, Drew, Tim, if you would occasionally would unplug from Elton John, you would find there's a whole nother world
Well, I'll
out
tell
there.
you one thing. Elton John calls out people about auto-tune.
I have no doubt.
It is serious business, and
Hey.
he will perform with nobody that needs auto-tune.
And I guarantee you, I've seen him live, and for being 974 years old, he can still put on a pretty good show.
Hey, do you guys do Spotify,
Yes.
Apple Music? Did you
Spotify.
get your, what do they call it? Your
The Unwrapped.
the Unwrapped?
I
did
did
you get
today.
your Unwrapped?
Oh, I did.
I do Amazon Music, so
Oh.
Oh, man. All right, Paw. When you
next-
get ready,
well,
we'll
never
start
mind.
talking to
Next
Spot-
question.
Yeah.
I was
Okay,
gonna
next
ask.
question. All right, moving on. But we all agree audio tune garbage.
Amazon Music, very sensible, Tim.
That
very
is
sensible.
very, very safe.
that's right. It's free with Amazon Prime.
Well, Prime is not free, so.
Yeah.
But yes.
It's included in the monthly cost of Amazon Prime.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not the greatest stream. But anyway, I digress. UPS or FedEx, which do you feel is more reliable?
Amazon.
I'm pretty sure that guy, I feel like we should be inviting the Amazon driver to our family Christmas. He's at our house more than we are. I really don't care. As long as they get my packages there, I don't know that they're. I have two
and
really.
don't throw it against the front door.
Yeah. Our FedEx driver that delivers to my work and the UPS guy, super cool guys.
I have one question. Can UPS come pick Cologuard up at my house instead of making me bring the box that everybody knows what's in it to the UPS store?
That's a great
Now,
question.
Drop it
Cologuard,
off.
that's the one that tests what comes out of your wazoo, right?
That's exactly right.
For people who attend the Asheville Road Church of Christ.
For people who are here on Wednesday night during announcements, wazoo is the word of the day. Wah!
It's a box with a picture of a colon on the side of it.
You mean
And they give it to
Is
you
it a
and
colon
say,
or a
take it into
semicolon?
a UPS.
it's just two dots, right?
It's not punctuation.
Oh, the other
Talking
colon.
about an organ.
Oh, yeah, the other colon. Oh man,
We
Well,
better move on.
Moving along before we fall apart on this one. If you were to go choose a different occupation for your life, go back in time and change your trajectory, what would you choose and why?
I overthink things. That's a hard one.
It is.
Because the question is, does it have to be realistic? Like, do I make money in this imaginary job?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's set that
You know,
aside.
Yeah, let's not say you got to make a
Assuming
living.
I could be successful.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. If you could have done anything,
mean,
and
there's no-
let's say have the same level of success you have today, make a living, able to provide for your family.
Well, I'd like to be a best-selling author
Well, I think that's a great.
or a selling author. I'll take that.
You're gonna get there, Drew. I have faith in you.
It's just a matter of
Yeah.
the right people.
In fact, we have
RiddleCreekPublishing.com.
we have a question coming up that I'm pretty sure is going to give you free publicity. I always wanted to be a fireman, but in reality, if I could go back and do it, I would want to be an musical artist. I get jealous of these guys that I see, and I know they're not making a lot doing this. It's their weekend gigs, but like when we go on vacation, they're sitting at these beach dive restaurants, just playing music, hanging out, talking to the crowd. I'm so envious of them. It's just
See,
this cool
There's
lifestyle.
something that's a little sad to me about that.
I just love it. I missed out on a lot of my artsy.
Have you
I
ever
have
seen
a
the
very
guys
artsy
up here
side.
at the backyard in Leeds?
Yeah. I don't.
That's
want,
a little sad.
I would want to be more successful than that. But I would. But we said we're dreaming. Don't have to support
Yeah,
your family.
yeah.
I would love to have followed my artistic side. I went down the science side.
You do
and
have an
and
artistic side.
I have a little bit of a tistic side.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But you know, we haven't got to Tim's yet.
Yeah.
But the good news is you and I both can do our thing.
Yeah, that's true.
We just can't make money at it.
That's true. I can't play a guitar though. I'd have to just sing. I couldn't play the music.
Well, you play piano.
Not very well. It's pretty
No.
bad.
I want to host the 10 p.m. Sports Center.
Oh, that is awesome, Tim.
Dun-dun-dun,
I think
dun-dun-dun.
that's doable.
Yeah. I think you could
That's
do
what I
it.
want.
Would you make announcements during ESPN Sports Center? I'm asking for a friend. It's actually a question coming up.
I would
just thought-
say just a few announcements before we go to class.
That's right.
By a few, I mean a lot.
They won't fine you for saying Wazoo.
That's right. They would think I'm actually talking about Washington State University.
True.
Wazoo.
That's right. So Drew, this is a question
Am I
directed.
going to get fined by the elders?
Nah, you'll be fine.
Okay.
I mean,
They did ask to talk to me.
I'm pretty sure I've said worse, so it's okay.
All right.
This is directed directly to Drew, and this came out of our Bad Preacher segment. Drew, what is your most embarrassing pulpit moment?
I think it may have been tonight when I randomly picked Psalm 88. Tim and I were talking on the front pew, and I lost track of time.
So also the reason you had to lead the opening prayer.
Yes, I was a one-man show tonight, and I looked, and behold, it was after 7 p.m. So I jumped up, flipped my Bible open. We always start with a scripture reading, and it was Psalm 88. And I can't remember the exact quote, but it was like, I'll summarize it this way. My life is horrible. We're all going to die. And you know how most Psalms will gradually lead towards
a good message?
A happy ending?
This was a song of lament, is what you're saying.
I skipped it. Let me get it out.
So it was a sad psalm, is what you're saying.
It never.
You know, if I could
got
ever
better.
get here before the singing starts, I would hear things
Jason,
like this.
did you notice it,
I
Tim?
did. I was
Did you
like,
notice how it was a real downer?
And we all die.
because I was assuming surely don't call him Shirley, but
This
surely
is tying into his lesson tonight.
But surely it's going to be part of what he's going to
Yeah,
get
that's
back
right.
up and talk about. And then he said, now let's go to Proverbs 3. And I was like, what just happened?
O Lord, God of my salvation, I cry out day and night before you. Let my prayer come before you. My soul is full of troubles, and my life draws near to Sheol. Your wrath lies heavy upon me. So I'm going
that was
through
it.
that, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna get to the part where
it gets better.
we're gonna get to the but.
But
you-
O Lord, are my rock
so
and
I
my
just-
salvation.
There you go.
Yeah.
I just kind of casually
If you were writing
skip
scripture.
down, and it just gets worse and worse. Here's how it ends. I read all the way to the end. They surround me like a flood all day long. They close in on me together. You have caused my beloved and my friend to shun me. My companions have become darkness.
yeah.
And then somehow, in between him sitting down
Let's sing.
and Charlie getting up, I heard the sound, wonk, wonk, wonk.
Yes.
Oh, that's so good.
But that's probably not my most embarrassing pulpit moment.
But it's the one you'll talk about
I'll
out
have to
loud.
tell you off air.
Okay.
My most embarrassing
Yeah.
one, because I said something that I
was-
should not have said.
Yeah.
It's a word slipped out of my mouth that is.
Was it like a young youth minister that was talking about Lot? Very similar.
It's similar.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Tim, a question directed directly to you.
Yes.
Have you rid the house of mice yet? What's the mouse count?
Well,
This is obviously, I like that these are listeners and they're asking off
Yes.
of follow-up questions.
This is
I
an
like this.
outstanding question. I mean, this is like Schrodinger's cat or something like that? I mean, I don't know. Is the mouse there if I don't know that the mouse is there?
It's like if a tree falls in the wood.
Yeah, something like that.
yeah.
So there has been one mouse sighting since the last trapping.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the answer would have to be no, unless somehow a mouse has left the way he came.
Yeah, that's not happened.
He may have left the way he came, but he's coming back.
Yeah. They're probably nestled up somewhere making babies right now.
Oh, come on. Don't start that.
That's probably what's going to happen. Yeah. That would
Cold
be my
weather
guess.
brings him in the house.
Yeah, it really does.
Y'all need to shut up.
All right, let's jump into a fairly serious question. What is, it's not fairly, it is a serious question. What is the origin of Satan? So I'll jump in on this one a little bit because I'm teaching right now on sin on Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. in the young adult classroom. If you'd like to join us, we'd be happy to have you there. But part of that is, in fact, coming up well, there's a little bit in this week's lesson and some next week's lesson to talking about where did Satan come from. And I think he was a created being, and I think he was right around the time of creation. He revolted against God in some way, shape, or fashion, and he was cast down out of the heavenly realm. He was separated from God. God can't be around that type of stuff. And I do believe he's created. I think he's bound in chains right now, waiting on judgment. But I think he was one of the heavenly beings, and I think he revolted against God, and him and some of his rowdy friends were cast out of heaven. That's my opinion by what I read.
Probably an angel by process of elimination.
Yep.
You know, he's not an animal.
Nope.
He doesn't have the characteristics of God because he is not.
He's not all
He's
powerful.
under God's control.
Yeah,
so
he
it
had
can't-
to ask God to even torment Job.
Yeah, so he's not. No, it's not a dualistic situation where you have good God and bad God. He's not human. And we're running through these quickly, but you can stack up proofs behind each one. He's not a plant.
If you want to come to class Sunday 9 a.m., we're going to go through some of these proofs.
So what else is there?
Yeah.
The angels, which are created beings, and of course, there are ranks of angels, and I find
There are.
it a very interesting theory, and I would just call it a theory because we don't know for sure, that angels had different roles, and that some angels have a role of testing. And that's why you find him having that conversation with the Lord at the beginning of the book of Job. And why he is the tempter.
The deceiver. Yep.
See, testing is good for us, but not when there's evil intent behind it.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so perhaps he was an angel who had the role of testing, and he took it too far.
Right. Because, you have to ask the question, well, how did he fall? Right. So there had to
What
be
did he do? Yeah.
responsibilities and there had to be right and wrong,
Yeah.
for falling to occur.
Well,
Right. And sometimes we don't think about that just naturally in relation to the heavenly beings, but certainly they had jobs and roles. And so, because we see angels coming as messengers and, so we see them having roles. So, they could rebel and refuse to fulfill their role. And if their role is, a tester, or just, if you wanted to be God, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's got to be a way. I mean, there had to be something that he did to fall from that role. And it seems like
And the
based on-
possibilities are limited, right?
but I think it comes to one thing.
how
I
many
think there's-
temptations are there in heaven?
What does Scripture
Right.
say goes before a fall and before destruction?
Pride.
Pride and a haughty spirit. And I think he.
Well, and Paul calls conceit the condemnation of the devil.
Yeah,
So
I think he
it
started
had something to do with it.
trying to rival himself or make himself a rival with God.
Yeah.
And I think that's what in my opinion, that's what it boiled down to. And
So
in
we
my
know
studies,
he's a created being because
Yeah.
he's not God. The kind of created being he is
up to doubt.
is up to some conclusion. But we say angel because angels are what we know that exist that are not man.
Yeah.
Right.
So while we're on difficult questions, and I don't know what I think about this question. What are some things? This is a tough one. What are some things you think a Christian should make as non-negotiables when looking for a spouse?
Well, the reason it's hard is because we don't want to fall back on the cliche, someone who will help you go to heaven.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
But that's it.
Yeah.
That's the answer. I have a very non-romantic view of what would make a good marriage partner. All right? So I don't believe in star-crossed lovers or what's the term for it? Soulmate. I think there are a lot of people we're compatible with. I think what you've got to do is you've got to find somebody who's committed to marriage, committed to love, who will partner with you in the most important things in life. And you can let the smaller things go, the smaller differences. Of course, good looks and personality and those kinds of things attract in the beginning, but that's not what holds people together.
Well, and they also fade. They're temporal.
Yeah. What holds people together is the higher calling they share.
Well, I think back to Genesis when God made Eve. He said it's not good that man should be alone. And he made a suitable helper, a suitable partner for Adam, took him out of his side. And really, before the first sin and mankind and the earth and the woman faces curses from their sin, I think they were very much side by side in what they did. I think they were perfectly compatible with one another. One was the, what's the word I'm looking? One was they balanced each other out, right? They had these roles that were very important, but that were integrated and together. And I think that's one of the key things today is looking for somebody that completes who you are going to be, who is going to help you get to heaven because they complete your journey as a person. Because it's not good that man's alone. It's not good. I think, and I know part of that is there was one man and he was creating somebody to be a companion for him, a woman. But I think it's got to be somebody that is a complement to you, that has similar goals, similar lifestyles, but that'll also challenge you and hold you accountable to things.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was it's a tough question.
I agree with what you guys said on that.
All right, let's get to a more fun question for a second. Do any of you have any hoarding tendencies? And this person that submits it says, I've been called a book hoarder, or do you just call yourself a collector?
I hoard books.
I'm a junker. I've got more junk hoarded in places. And my poor kids, when I die, they think they're getting money. What they're getting is a bunch of broken old furniture, dusty things that are 100 years old that they have no clue about.
And you get a bunch of that stuff to create other things from it,
Yeah,
right?
but it kind of piles up, Tim.
It piles up.
You got 4 storage
Yeah,
buildings
your
full
hobby requires a lot of room.
of it. Yeah. But I'm a hoarder. I have T-shirts
I've got these
from high
cabinets
school.
in here in the studio that are crowding us out.
They really
And
Yeah.
They're
they
really
need
throwing
to-
off my creative vibe.
They're full of old periodicals that probably need to be thrown away or donated, but
We could go through my
Very true.
closet and you would see a number of things that I can't wedge this physical plant into, and yet they stay around an awful lot.
But you don't bring a whole lot of new stuff in. So a hoarder
Yeah, Tim, your
doesn't
foot's
throw
hanging out your
stuff away.
shoes right now.
Yeah, a hoarder doesn't throw old things away and keeps bringing new things in.
yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
do that.
A lot of mine is keeping the old stuff,
Yeah.
right?
I've seen your attic.
I went in the attic during Thanksgiving week, and we took a truckload of stuff out, and we didn't sniff making a dent in that attic. And
I hope you didn't put it in the church dumpster, did you?
There were a couple of things, but it was the day before the.
I don't remember getting a clearance about that, but okay.
He knows
whatever.
when to
That's
bring
because
it.
you're not the dumpster deacon.
That is true. You're the dumpster czar. I forget this, but I've definitely been. Now I'm not like clinically a hoarder. Like I'm not going to end up on a television show sitting around with 50 cats and one little path through the house. My house is clean and organized.
A stack of newspapers to the ceiling.
Yeah,
or
I don't
anything
have
like
that,
Yeah.
but I do have a lot of junk that I have a hard time getting rid of. What is the ideal pizza? I thought this was a good question.
It's a good one. Okay. Toppings, crust, restaurant or homemade. If a restaurant, which one? I've got 2 submissions for restaurants.
Okay.
Number 1, Carpenetti's, Moody, Alabama.
Add 100%.
They do a good job.
They do a really good job, and
And if they want to sponsor us, you can reach
Sounds
out
like
to
they
any of
just
us.
did.
we're easy to find just on the other side of the bridge.
Yeah. I eat there pretty regularly. Good food.
So I like their Supreme Pizza. I think it's awesome. My other one is a stretch away from there, Country Pizza in Clearwater, Florida. An amazing pizza. And whenever I go down there, try to get one while I'm there. But it's just the best. They do the cuts.
Is that a chain or just
No,
a local place?
It's a local place, and they do the cuts where they don't do the pie cut. They do the sort of the crisscross or whatever, and their cheese, their mixture of cheeses is just otherworldly. It's amazing.
Yeah,
Love
I
it.
would agree with Carpenetti's. My other favorite pizza in the world is El Hornito in Cusco, Peru.
All right.
Spectacular
I thought I was
pizza.
going far away with Clearwater,
Spectacular pizza.
but you had to
down
take
there.
it to another continent.
Oh, it's one of my. I
Captain
make
One
sure
Up.
when we go down there at least once, maybe twice, I go get pizza there. It is so good. It is really thin crust, and the cheese is just spectacular.
And if anybody's listening from that restaurant, you can be a sponsor as well.
Yes.
You can, and I'll see you in March.
All right. Back to Cusco.
Toppings and crust. I'm your classic. Give me some pepperoni, maybe a little ground beef or sausage on top. I do like a Hawaiian pizza. I'm not anti-pineapple on a pizza. I like a good Hawaiian pizza.
Interesting. Don't take me thin crust. Millie loves thin crust. I really don't want my pizza feeling like it's on Lord's Supper bread.
Yeah, I agree.
I need some
or
bread
or
there.
worse, when it's real soggy and you can't even pick it up.
I do want a little substance to it. Now, you remember a trip we made to Wrigley Field in 2014, 18, I think, or 17, where we took our kids. We ate at a pizza place in Chicago that had the more of the deep dish kind of pizza, and it was really good. I remember it
good.
being good.
It sure was.
It was right there by the stadium. I remember it being next to the stadium. We need to make another trip like that. Next question. What are 2 books by brethren, past or present, that you think ought to be read by many Christians today? I'm going to start out by saying anything on Riddle Creek Publishing should be picked up and read. Our friend Drew here is a award-winning author. I give him an award anyway.
I was going to say,
You win our award.
don't have the award yet.
You win,
I will get you a trophy.
You win the Leeds Family Eye Care Literary
Award.
Society Award.
Tonight. Just won it tonight.
Instead of the Pulitzer, you're getting a Pulliam Award for
All right,
excellence.
I'll take it.
But then you gave me a book here recently that I just finished reading, Searching for Brandon Bazin. I thought
Yeah.
that was a really good book. I just finished it about a week ago. And
Yeah, I was going to mention that one
I
by
enjoyed
Lance Mosher.
I really enjoyed that read. It was similar to one that came out, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago, but better. Much better, much calmer, a little gentler.
Yeah,
I really
Brandon
liked it.
Bazin is about a young man's journey in becoming a Christian, and it's one of those novels that can be used in teaching truth, teaching somebody in particular that there is a God and that He loves us and that His Son died for us, and there is a plan of salvation to receive forgiveness. But Lance tells a pretty good story around those
It was
main
a
points.
really, really good story. I really enjoyed it. I read it,
It's well written.
and I don't know, I read it over a week or so. It was a really nice read.
Yeah.
One of the things when I was thinking about this question that is a little bit sad. So when I started working on teaching this class that I'm teaching right now on Sunday mornings at 9:00 in the young adult classroom for any of our listeners that want to come, I was looking for brotherhood books that talk a lot about sin and things like that. And I feel like we have some limitations in the amount of books we have out and in some ways in the quality of books we have out. And maybe that's just my narrow perspective, but that was the feeling
problem
I
is
had.
finding them.
Yeah.
You
That
know,
may be the hard part.
Tim and I noticed it when we were handling curriculum here at the church.
It is
The churches of Christ need a really good online bookstore.
That would be wonderful because it's hard to find.
There's probably a lot of good books on sin out there, but they're out of print or they're
That's right.
Some guy published it independently and you don't know him, so you don't know to look for it.
But if you go to the major book search places and try to look,
Right.
there's there's not a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
It's pretty
and
empty.
we did Amazon searches for things when we knew who what we wanted and who the author was.
Even sites like Christian Book, it's hard to find.
Yeah,
But it
'cause,
get buried
right.
Yeah.
And
under the millions of.
and we would go to various places, right? We'd go to Lambert and we'd go to Gospel Advocate. And some of these places don't even exist anymore or in a very limited, we'd go to Freed Hardman to their bookstore or whatever. Anybody out there who, wants a quest, if you could mine that information out and put it somewhere, it would be very valuable.
I'm sad. It's sad to me that one of our major universities, like a Freed or a Faulkner or someone like that, has not tried to compile something like that, because it seems like it
we've
would
tried-
fall under the academic side of things.
At Riddle Creek, we have tried to do this on our website, and we've got to start on it. But the problem is, it's so time consuming.
Oh yeah, you'd have to have somebody full time hired to do it.
Yeah, you've got to find the book. You got to vet the book,
Yep.
and then you've got to figure out how to link to the place to buy it.
Right.
So we've done a little bit of that. If you want to go to riddlecreekpublishing.com, you can find our suggested Bible study materials, and we're adding to that all the time. But we don't have the time or the staff to really make that a bookstore like it should be.
And what I found in my searches is there is a number of books that if you're teaching a Bible class, you can find them that have the 12 or 13 chapters that wrap up nicely with a quarter system. But you don't have these heavier books, works of literature. Now, I know there were some in the past. I know some of the guys that were writing in the 30s, 40s, 50s had some of these bigger books. And
right,
some
you can
of
find
them,
a lot of that on cobbpublishing.com.
Yeah. And so it's just like we're
Just to
missing.
work that in.
It's like we're just missing that in today's world where we have access to that.
Yeah. People are writing that probably now more than ever, but they're self-publishing it. And
That's right.
It's hard to
It's
market
just hard
it
to really
and tell.
find. Yeah.
So I was going to throw out, you took one of mine. It asked for two. So the other one I was going to point out is Disciples of the Empty Tomb by Brandon Renfro. It's a short little book, but it is very moving and encouraging, full of hope. It talks about the resurrection. So I think he's got it for sale for like $4.99 on Amazon, something like that. It's a good little book to pick up.
Let's move on to another question. I'm sorry, I'm skipping. Did you have
No,
any?
it's okay. I didn't read this question
one
until
is-
we just got here.
This
so
one is
I-
right up your alley,
believe
though.
it.
This one's landing in your wheelhouse. Top 3 favorite hymns.
But that takes some thought.
Okay,
forethought, you know.
I took time to think about it. I'll throw out my at least my 3. I mean, I didn't take hours, but these are 3 that when the question came up and I thought about it, these were 3 I like. I love Farther Along. One of my absolute favorite songs. It's an older song. It's kind of been overdone. It's been mass produced,
A little twangy.
but I love that song. I don't know what it is about that song. That is the song that just hits home for me. I love Night with Ebon Pinion. It's just a cool arrangement. I like the tune. I think the words in it and the kind of the archaic language of that song is really cool. And then I love Nearer Still Nearer. That's probably my 3 kind of top songs. Really love those songs. Those are ones that when they come on, I'm going to step up and sing a little bit louder than I do the others. T-Lay, you've led thousands of songs in your life. Give me 3 that stick out to you as
I'm going to go with It Is Well With My Soul.
great song.
That's a good pick.
How Great Thou Art is another one that's awfully meaningful to me. I like the song Without Him.
Yeah,
I
that's
like that song a lot.
good. I like "O Master, Let Me Walk with Thee." Hey, fan favorite. I don't care. I like "I'll Fly Away."
Yeah.
I like the tune. I like
flew away, Drew. We flew away
Right.
this morning.
We had a song leader that thought we let it too much, but there's a reason why we lead it so much.
It's a great
The
song.
message is good, and it's an old American song. It just has that classic feel to it. And a newer song that I like, and I don't like favorite lists because I don't have a favorite anything. I have a favorite woman, my wife Julie, and aside from that, I don't have favorites. But another song that's a little more modern is "How Deep the Father's Love for Us."
Yeah, that is a good song.
It's a good song.
Yeah. I think if we sat in here for hours on this one topic, we could come up with a lot of songs that we really. I mean, there's a lot of them. Now, one that didn't make the list that I'm shocked one of you didn't bring up is "Rise Up, Ye Men of God." Oh, men of God! I knew that one.
We're still learning it. We're still learning.
That goes back to a very awkward moment.
I gave up on learning it.
Yeah, we just quit that one.
I will tell you one, and you guys know this is one that I have like this love-hate relationship with. There are times that we sing the greatest commands and it moves me.
Yeah.
And there are times that we sing the greatest commands and it's like, come on. You just because it when it all blends together, it's sometimes slightly chaotic, but then there's just times that when we sing it, it's like that was amazing.
Sometimes the melody is just beautiful. Yeah. The sound of it. So these next couple of questions, and I know we're probably getting long on time, but I'm enjoying this. So these next few questions talk kind of about our passages. So one of them is, where do you come up with your passages to discuss? So because I'm a manly man, and
I want to see how the sausage gets made.
Because I'm a manly man and I don't care what people think, I have a Pinterest account, and when I find quotes, I save my quotes to there. And then I would say usually Wednesday, we start shooting around a couple of quote ideas, and we read through them and come up with one that we like. And I think we do a good job of trying to not pick them all, Tim not pick them all. A lot of them, as we've done this, I've had people come up and say, "Hey, here's a quote." I had one given to me that we'll talk about here in a little bit on the request line. I took a picture of one when I was reading a book last night, underlined it, took a picture of it so I'd have it to save for another podcast. So,
since we started the podcast a little over a year ago, I've been more mindful of what I'm reading, and when I run across something, I capture it and save it.
So I think the answer is all over the place.
Right? There's not.
I mean, but
really any.
But the fact that we're doing this makes us, more. When we see a passage, it piques our interest because we know that we're going to be looking for these, and so we sort of have a running list, and sometimes we, pluck them out of the running list, or sometimes something comes up in a week that we're sharing.
And as I listen to
group chat
speakers or listen to podcasts, if I hear a quote and it's really cool and I think it's meaningful, I'll jot it down. I keep a notebook with me all the time, and I'll jot it down in the notebook and eventually get it into Pinterest where I can look it up.
We've organized them topically in a Google Doc, and a few times we've paid attention to some gaps in areas we haven't been talking about, and we'll intentionally go look for a quote that's covered by that topic, and we probably need to do more of that.
But we're not sitting down with 1000's best quotations book and just looking through it to find one. They're kind of what pops up during the day, and a lot of them come from things we've read or heard. Another podcast question: would you allow passengers to sit in and watch a recording? I don't know.
Sure.
Have we ever had a studio audience sit in? We've had Patrick sit in
really
with us.
Bored.
Jackson sat over here one time and looked like he was just out of his mind.
I think he made it halfway through.
He left when we took a break.
He thought he wanted to stay.
Yeah, and then he didn't. Another one is, what has been your favorite passage so far and why? I would need more time to really...
Wow.
I need to go back.
I was just looking over our list here, and
I have them all written down that we've done, but I'd have to go back and look at my list.
It's quite a long list.
It'd be a hard one to come up with. Maybe we can come back to that.
I like the Wendell
sometime.
Berry quote: "Grief gives the full measure of love, and it is somehow reassuring to learn, even by suffering, how large and powerful love is."
Yeah.
That's one of my favorites.
The person that asked this question said, how do we pick quotes? And this is not one that's on the sheet, but the person asked me, how do we pick quotes that seem to really like have meaning to other people? I mean, I think we've all had people come up and say, I really like that quote. That was something that I needed to hear. And I think we just look for things that we feel are important. Right. And if it's common to us, then it's probably common to a lot of people. Right. I think it's just, we all deal with a lot of the same things.
And we've tried to, look for variety, right? So that we don't get too repetitive in where the passage is going to take us. But to some degree, a lot of them are about the challenges of life, and so sometimes we're going to get in some similar places, but we try to find new thoughts that take us in new places.
Yeah.
So I'm going to jump into one last kind of a deeper question, and then I'll close us out with just a few more quick hitters about the podcast. The deeper question, and this came from one of our listeners, is, I'm Catholic. Can you explain what is different about your religion? And that's one that I think to really get into, you need to sit down and have just a face-to-face kind of Bible study. But a big part of it is we believe the Bible is the inspired word of God, and it's the only book we need to really understand the gospel, period.
One of the things that I always think about when it comes to a question like this is, I really know nothing about Catholicism. I've only attended the Church of Christ in my life. I'm not sure that there's ever been a Sunday that I've ever been anywhere, maybe I was at home or something, right? Mm-hmm. But that I don't think I've ever attended a church that's not a Church of Christ.
I don't think I've ever been
on a
to
Sunday,
a Catholic mass.
Right.
Yeah.
So, can I really speak to, what Baptists do or what Catholics do? Because I think in a lot of cases, maybe they don't all do exactly the same thing. I'm sure that there are different variations. And so, I think, to know what's different, you really have to have an understanding. When I was growing up, we had this book that we studied in Bible class when I was a teenager, and it was like understanding your religious neighbor. And there was one page on each denomination. And
I think we had that,
and I think I'm sure there was some level of accuracy to what the belief system is of that denomination. But I think when it comes to a question like this, the best thing to do is to sit
down and have a study
and say, this is where I'm coming from.
That's right.
And what we try to do is just what you said, is we try to do what the Bible says, and that's not, there are things in the Bible that are very straightforward, and there's some things in the Bible that are difficult, but we try to do what the Bible says, and that, to the best of our ability, is what we're about.
Yeah.
I think the major difference, if you're just looking for something solid to hold on to, and I hope I'm representing Catholics properly in doing this, is that it's all about authority. Mm-hmm. And for us, the authority is the New Testament scriptures. Mm-hmm. And for Catholics, the authority is in tradition. By that I mean, you have the scriptures, and then on top of that, you have councils, several councils. You have papal edicts. You have changes in practices and decisions that are made throughout the centuries that are included in the way they worship and practice their faith today. Mm-hmm. And we don't look at anything past 100 AD, however you want to look at
the
it.
New Testament, the writing of the
conclusion of the New
Yeah.
Testament concluded our authority. That's the major difference.
Yeah.
And so today, see if you agree with this statement, right, based on this question. The Pope, the current Pope, is considered to be inspired, right?
He can speak ex cathedra, from the chair. And when he I'm probably not representing this correctly, but he can turn that on and off. So they don't look at every word that he says as inspired. But when he intentionally speaks ex cathedra, that is authoritative.
Right. So he could come
It's
and
the word
say,
of God.
He could come and say something today that is in addition to all the things that have been said in the past and change things in some way, right?
Exactly.
Okay. And it also comes down to, and I was just Googling to make sure I wasn't going to misspeak on this, but the head of the Catholic Church is who?
The
Pope. The head of the church, the Christian church, the New Testament church, is Christ. And that is a big difference. We have the Son of God, the Redeemer, our Savior, as the head of the church, who we believe resurrected from the grave and is sitting at the right hand of God, and will come back one day, and there'll be a time of judgment.
Let's talk about the structure just for a moment, too, because there's a major difference that you reminded me of. So all of our churches are organized locally.
Yeah. Autonomous.
So, that's the word. It means self-rule. But we look overhead, you have Christ only, and then in the local church you have a group of elders who have authority in matters of discretion. They can't change the word of God, but there are matters of opinion that they have to weigh in on. And then you have the church. So they don't answer to a diocese or board or convention over them. Our elders here at Asheville Road is as high as you go, except above them is Christ. But you have a hierarchy in Catholicism that starts with the Pope and goes down through archbishops and so forth.
That's right. But that's one of those, to this listener, if you want to ever sit down and talk, find one of us. We'd be happy to study with you. I think it's a good question, and I think we need to have these questions, and I think we need to have these discussions because I do believe that people who are in areas of religion that are what I would say extra biblical, or that are not rooted solely in the New Testament and the Bible, the inspired Word of God, those people are just as sincere in their faith as we are in ours. But you can be sincere and be misled too. And I think the only way to have those discussions is to sit down and have just a cordial, friendly, not an argument, but a discussion. Show me why you believe this. Tell me why you believe this. That kind of a discussion. Let's get off the heavy stuff because it's stressful to me. These are not questions that I submitted, but who is the funniest in this group? I'm going to throw out Tim Layton is probably the funniest in the group. Tim, you make me laugh. Oh, when this person was submitting these questions, they asked me, and I said, "Oh, it's no doubt it's Tim Layton." And the example is when you're not here, the laughter is not normally what it is.
Thanks.
There's no doubt about it.
I appreciate that.
I'm going to skip the one about the best dad joke because when the question is, what is the best dad joke Jason has ever told? I've told so many, it's hard to really tell.
Just give us one, since that's what somebody wants.
They want a joke.
I can't just pull them out of the air.
Can.
I got the rim shot ready.
Yes, you can.
I got to think about it.
He's usually so quick with these.
Oh. I wasn't planning on doing one, so I'll come back to one. I'll sneak one in a little bit. If your life had a theme song, what would it be?
I just saw that. That requires forethought.
I looked at it and I thought about it for a minute, just a couple, couple of minutes ago. And are y'all familiar with the theme song to Benny Hill? Yeah,
Yes,
because
that's what your life feels like sometimes.
Yeah.
I think that might be the theme song to my life.
I think mine could be "Shake It Off," because is it "Shake It, Shake It, Shake It"?
Oh, wow.
The Parkinson's.
Yeah. Yeah. If I ever need to mix
I
up
didn't have a whole lot of time to think.
If I ever need to mix up a protein shake, I do know who to hand it to. So
I'm your man.
But you better get it done before the 18th.
The 18th, because then it's over with.
Oh, well.
And mine would be only because this was my favorite theme song growing up to, I guess it would be a sitcom. Do you remember the TV show The Greatest American Hero?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember the song Believe It or Not, I'm walking on air? That would be mine. And I think it goes back to my flying theme.
Yes, you've been very consistent.
That
tonight.
was one of the greatest.
He didn't have good landings though.
He
in
couldn't
that
fly
show.
either. He was awful at flying. He was
terrible.
He was an awful superhero. That's
It
probably
got
the level of
annoying after a
superhero.
while
It was-
watching him
I
not
don't think
be
it-
able to master flight.
I really don't think it made many seasons. Maybe
don't
one.
think so.
But that theme song, when it used to come on as a kid, I was so excited to see that. Is there an update on Couch Mix? Are we going to have a recipe available for
we
passengers?
have really dropped the ball with the couch mix.
I think
Tim
as
is
a
the
New
only
Year's
one who even tried.
as a New Year's resolution, we need to work on that and bring
Yeah.
it back.
I
I mean, we
agree.
got to.
Thanks for reminding us.
We've got our
we need to get
brand
back.
out there now.
Yeah.
We've got to put a product with it.
Yeah, we really do. And then
But we need some options to refine this
Yes.
whole process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
last, let's do the last.
It's hard
two
to do the
questions.
show while you're eating too.
It really is. I'm going to skip one of these. What's the weirdest gift you've ever received? We'll wrap up on that.
Weirdest.
That could get us in trouble.
I'm trying to think if I've got any that are
Weirdest
just-
gift. Man, I just don't know the answer to that off the cuff.
Weirdest gift.
I mean, I'm sure I've had some odd ones at the. What do you call the parties at Christmas where you end up with the
White elephant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those.
Parties.
Yeah.
That's a good
I'll tell you.
question.
Okay, I do have I got this for Christmas about 6 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, and this was actually a weird gift, but perhaps the most used gift I've ever had. The Squatty Potty, guys. That thing,
Okay.
life changing. You go from Rocky Road. I mean, it is life changing. I recommend the Squatty Potty.
You might want to,
Why did he say Rocky Road?
because it's part of the commercial.
Oh, okay.
It turns into soft serve or something
Rainbow
weird.
sherbet. Yeah, it's
YouTube Squatty Potty.
If
and
you'll
you'll
YouTube
get
and watch the cartoon,
you'll get
you
a
will
cartoon.
totally get it.
I'll just
But
take your
my
word for it.
sister-in-law, who I love to death, she's one of my favorite people in the world. Brooke, if you're listening, which I doubt you are, but if you're listening, that is the greatest gift. And it is still sitting in the master bath, and that thing is used regularly. Yeah, I appreciate that
Well,
gift.
I
That's
don't
probably
think-
the weirdest
I don't
gift.
think we can do any better than that.
I don't know if you can
that's
top
good.
the Squatty Potty. So let's take a break. We'll come back and look at these quotes that were submitted.
A history left forgotten, a history left unpunished. Miles and miles of white-capped green can't make up for that shame. These cotton rules are death-like.
All right, we're
Came
back.
about through
And
fire.
we are, in this special episode, we've had 2 passages submitted to us, and these 2 are related, so we're really going to discuss them both as a group. So the first one is from Brene Brown, and this quote is, "The truth is, belonging starts with self-acceptance. Your level of belonging, in fact, can never be greater than your level of self-acceptance, because believing that you're enough is what gives you the courage to be authentic, vulnerable, and imperfect." And then the other passage is from E.E. Cummings, and it says this: "We do not believe in ourselves until someone reveals that deep inside us something is valuable, worth listening to, worthy of our trust, sacred to our touch. Once we believe in ourselves, we can risk curiosity, wonder, spontaneous delight, or any experience that reveals the human spirit." And so both of these quotes really focus on believing in ourselves, self-acceptance,
Yeah.
and how we get to that point and what it can do for us.
It's amazing how similar they are.
It really
I mean,
was
these
submitted
were
from 2 different people.
at 2 different times.
Yeah.
The one that the first one, Brene Brown, was submitted weeks ago.
Yeah.
And then I saw this one you brought in
A couple of weeks
Cummings.
back. Yeah.
because, I mean, they're just using different terminology. Where Brown uses self-acceptance, as Tim pointed out, Cummings uses believing in ourselves. Where she talks about, believing you're enough, he talks about finding deep inside you something valuable, worth listening to, worthy of trust, sacred to our touch. where she talks about having the courage to be authentic, vulnerable, and imperfect. He talks about risking, which
is courage.
Risking courage.
Yeah, that's courage.
You risk curiosity, wonder, spontaneous delight, or any experience that reveals human spirit. I mean, it's almost like one is a translation of the other. It's amazing how close
they're eerily similar. The one difference that I see between them that at least stands out to me is the Brené Brown quote starts with the self. Belonging starts with self-acceptance, your level of belonging. Like you're working through that on your own. And I feel like the E.E. Cummings says we don't believe in ourselves until someone reveals that deep inside.
Yeah,
so
that's
one
the
is
big
like
difference.
like one is, okay, I believe I have self-worth. I see this in my own life. I understand it. And one of it is the situation of where somebody points out to you, hey, you have value, you have worth. And then you see it yourself and you're able to risk things. Yeah. And I think the E.E. Cummings one, the best example of that is the role that parents should be playing for their children. That's what I think. I mean, we don't, because we got to create value in our children, not based on what they do, what they accomplish, what they can accomplish, but we have to create value in you're a worthy person, you have great qualities, and I think that's a role as parents in establishing value and self-worth and self-acceptance.
And I'm not going to say that Brené Brown is saying that this is something that totally happens within yourself, because I'm not sure that can happen.
No, I think you have to have some external exposure. Yeah.
Right. Without some external assurance. And I think, what you said about parents is so important, because very often the way that children are molded by their parents has so much to do with this. Whether you ever feel a sense of value or not has so much to do with what's instilled into you by your parents. In terms of what are you worth something? Are you valuable? But it can also be from other people as well, right?
Yeah, the environment you are in.
And it's these external things that say either you are valuable, you have something to give, your potential's unlimited, or you're worthless. You have, you're stupid. You don't have, you're no good. You're trouble. It's the messages. I'm sure there's some of this that's inherent in ourselves, but I think those messages and how they're accepted or pushed away by a person has so much to do with this feeling that they belong and that they're worthy and that they have something to contribute and they have value.
Don't you think Brown is talking to a particular person who didn't have the benefit of good parents or friends or faith, telling that person you are enough,
right?
To use the word,
right?
So she's reaching out maybe to a different audience.
That's entirely possible.
And you've got to have a starting place. Mm-hmm. I think both of these have the shortcoming of not bringing God into the picture, which is where true acceptance comes from.
Right.
Knowing that despite all that you've done and all that you are, the Supreme Being loves you.
But you don't know that unless someone teaches you, which brings in that outside. Because I think, I think about the world today. I mean, some of the statistics on people who are believers in God, believers in Christ, believers in New Testament, there's a lot of kids being raised today that have no idea of their spiritual worth, that Christ died for. I mean, they just don't know that. And you don't know that unless somebody teaches you that. And I think that, again, is the role of parents, teachers, church.
That's the best thing that you can do for another person is show them
their value,
that they're loved.
Yep. No matter what.
Well,
now, so with the Brown quote, it's like she's addressing somebody who is complaining about not fitting in.
Yeah.
And what do you tend to do when you feel like you don't fit in? You start trying to be the kind of person that other people would like. You imagine what they would want you to be, and you try to become that, you hate yourself, and you try to be somebody different.
You say, this is not who I really am, right? I'm not being authentic anymore. I'm just faking
I was going to say, you go and do the opposite of the 3 words she ends it with. You become inauthentic, you become unvulnerable, and you try to be perfect.
Yes.
I mean, those are the things you do, and those break down rapidly.
Right. And she's like, you're doing the opposite of what you should do.
Yeah.
You will belong when you accept who you are and realize your own value.
And I don't know if this is
you
another
be your
way.
real self, because people don't like to be around fakes.
Right. I mean, how it's so much easier to be around a person that's just comfortable in their own skin.
Yes. Yeah.
And unfortunately, a lot of us aren't necessarily comfortable in our own skin, but you can just feel it, right? That this person, hey, I may not agree with every single thing this person says or does or whatever, but it's easy to be around them and to be friendly with them or whatever, because they're just comfortable being themselves.
Yeah, you can tell when somebody's trying too hard.
Hey, it's taken me 45 years to learn to be authentic, vulnerable, imperfect. And it took a lot of heartache to get to that point. But it's the most freeing thing in the world, because I don't have to create some image of who I am. This is me. Take it or leave it. I can work on me, but that's been one of the most freeing things in my life, was being able to find the courage to be okay not being okay, and to be authentic and say, I really am struggling, or I need to be vulnerable for a moment and tell you this, or I'm not perfect. Because you think about the pressure when you're trying to belong and you don't feel you're enough. You think about the pressure and stress you put on yourself trying to be something you're not. It's, we talk about a world full of mental illness right now. How much of that is driven by trying to fit into this mold that the world has created for what is a normal human? And it's what you were addressing tonight. Social media has played a huge part in that. I mean, how much is it you look online and you're like, man, if I just looked like that person, felt like that person, had a cool life like that person. And so you start molding yourself to be something you're not. And that leads to depression and anxiety and all of these other things.
And everybody else on social media is doing the same thing.
That's right. And we're
the
all
ones
a bunch
that look confident are not.
Yeah.
They're not confident. They're
being
putting out
inauthentic.
a persona of themselves,
and we're
not
all
the true
competing against this fake persona that we think we have to
the
live up with.
perfect person, which doesn't exist.
No, and we're all broken and screwed up and afraid to say it out loud. And when we do, then we find belonging. I have found more belonging in my brokenness than I ever had in my lies and in hiding behind things. Because you find, hey, there's a community of people like me, and we can help each other. Mm-hmm. That's a cool thing.
Yeah, and I think that, our challenge as the church is to try to be a place where people can belong. Now, we're not, just the idea of come as you are, right? Sometimes the Lord wants you to make changes, right? Yeah. He there are expectations.
That's different from self-acceptance.
It's different from self-acceptance, right? But to be a church that says, come be a part of this, right? And maybe you're not like most of the people here. Maybe you're not like any of the people here, but to create an environment where people will reach out to you and you can belong here, that needs to be a big part of what we try to be, right?
We're alike in one way, our faith.
Right. But
there are all kinds of differences that just make us stronger.
That's right. And
as they complement one another.
I know that we can always grow at this, but something I love about Asheville Road is I think we make a concerted effort at trying to be accepting of different. It's not a cookie cutter. I don't feel like we're a cookie cutter church, right? Of everybody that look at my characteristics and they're just like everybody else here. There's a lot of different folks here, and I think for us to do our part in fulfilling the Great Commission, that's what we need to be, right? There's all kinds of different people in Leeds and this area in the world that need God. And, so I think it's the other side of this, but it does come to mind that says, one of the things about belonging and helping people with their self-acceptance, sometimes it can be hard to find your niche, right? Now, there are people, and, I think like you guys, you can fit a lot of different places because but there are people who really struggle with this, right? To find my place in the world, and maybe I don't have any, just magnetic characteristics that just attract others to me, but I need a place to belong. And the church always needs to be the place where you can belong.
Well, instantly the church builds in a commonality because we're all broken, we're all sinners, and we're all needing grace and mercy. And we can all find that in Christ. I mean, that's four things right there that every person that walks in this door, if they're willing to be vulnerable and open and admit they're imperfect and be authentic, they can admit, I'm broken, I'm sinful, I need mercy and grace, I need Christ. I mean, that's four things you have in common. And we should see anybody that walks in the door, even if they're struggling with those things, if they can find in us authenticity, vulnerability, and a willingness to put on the face of we're not perfect, we have our own flaws, they find a welcoming place, and we have a chance to teach them the gospel. What happens, I think, a lot of times is they walk into, and I don't think Asheville Road's necessarily this way, but I think every church is this way to some extent. They walk in and they look a little different, and they act a little different, and they look around and people are kind of like, they're whispering, and they think, oh my goodness, they're talking about me. I got to get out of here. Because if you're already having trouble with self-acceptance, anything that goes against it, any subtle thing is going to make you run for the hills. Whereas if we're real in who we are, we draw people to Christ. I mean, that's how he didn't go out looking for perfect people. He hung out with tax collectors and sinners and was accused of being drunk because he was hanging out with these people.
Yeah. And I think there's always room to grow in this area as a church. But I would venture to say I think we're as good as we've ever been at this.
I look, after what I've been through, at 100%, we have a loving, merciful, graceful congregation.
It's a wonderful place to be at. I wanted to point out this is a biblical concept of self-acceptance. I wanted to read a verse from Psalm 131. This is Psalm 131, verse 2, where David says, I have calmed and quieted my soul like a weaned child with its mother, like a weaned child is my soul within me. So he's a man who's been through torment, who has dealt with difficulties and anxieties, and he's calming his soul the way a mother calms a weaned child. So it's not a child that has to be fed, but just is going to the mother for comfort. That's how he's treating himself, treating his soul. And that's just a very interesting image for what we're talking about. Both Brown and Cummings are saying, don't hate yourself. Negative self-talk is so damaging. When you say bad things about yourself out loud or in your head, and we all have done it.
Oh, yeah.
You start believing those words. Words bring about realities. And so you have to be careful about what you're saying, and you have to preach positive things to your soul and correct the negativity about yourself and about others. And you, of course, be realistic and don't overlook sin. And, if there are things causing that anxiety that can be changed, change them, but it is a biblical concept to care for your soul and protect it and value it.
At what point in his life do you think he wrote that psalm? Do you think he's nearing end of life when he writes that? You know, he writes some things
I feel
directly
like
to Solomon.
I have no proof of this,
Yeah.
but I just kind of feel like it's a later psalm
I feel
when
like
his
it is,
family's falling apart.
Yeah. You know,
Maybe Absalom has been killed.
and you
or-
look at the vulnerability he shows, and it's one of the reasons I like him so much. Read the Psalms. I mean, he was a broken man, and you look at the vulnerability and the authenticity he shows in like Psalms 32 or Psalm 51. I mean, he's broken, and he's crying out to God and asking God to essentially forgive him, but restore his value, help him. I mean, it's in those acts that you start to nurture the soul, because you can't be you can't be inauthentic or unauthentic, and
I think you had it right the first time.
inauthentic and truly nurture your soul. You cannot be lying to others and lying to yourself and be nurturing to yourself. You just can't do it. It creates too much turmoil, because then you start throwing on the guilt and shame of what you're doing and what you're going through.
You know, in the Brené Brown quote, this is a term that I hear a good bit. The idea that you're enough, and I know that's that's some common vernacular these days, but let's just dig into a minute sort of what we think that really means. I mean, I think that maybe that tells us a little bit more about what self-acceptance really should be. Not that you're perfect, not that you're not flawed, but the question is, you're enough what? Right? I mean, I think you're enough to be important. You're enough to be, to have a purpose. You're enough. I think needs to be, you have to ask, what does that really mean? Right. But I think you have to decide that you're enough to exist and function in this world because you're enough to be loved and respected and have a purpose and have a place and
Well, I think that points
have
back
value
to the E.E. Cummings quote where he talks about deep inside us, something is valuable. That enough is that value.
It is.
And it means you're worth listening to and that you're worthy of trust and that I'm not sure what he means by sacred to our touch. I'll admit that part of the quote I don't really get.
Yeah, it kind of gets away from him.
But I do think that part about worth listening to and worthy of trust, it's an idea of having a worth. And we're all, I mean, Christ died for you. Christ died for me. Christ died for the homeless guy living in Birmingham. Christ died for every person that has ever lived. And that in and of itself gives us value, period. And we just have to realize that value.
right.
That's right. Well, I appreciate all our listeners for the feedback and your input into this episode. Those are some great passages.
Thanks for producing this episode for us.
Yes. We are celebrating 50 episodes, and we could not have done it without you. And we hope for 50 more. So keep listening, and I'm going to have John take us out.
Follow us on Instagram at passages_podcast. And join us next time on Passages.